For today, I'm going to show you how to cook Sundubu Jjigae or Spicy Soft Tofu Stew. For this recipe, we actually need to prepare for the stock and for the stew itself. Here are the ingredients for the stock. We have to make the stock first. We need about 12 dried anchovies, about 3 pieces of dried kelp, 1 medium-sized onion, 5 cloves of garlic, 2 dried shiitake mushrooms, and 5 cups of water. Now for the stew itself, of course we need you can either use beef or pork, about 100 grams, and then kimchi, about 100 grams too. Then 1 cup diced zucchini, and then about 20 pieces of clams. Then green onions, about 2 stems, 1 chili pepper, the fresh one, and of course we also need this is very important, the red pepper powder, about 3 tablespoons, and then olive oil, sesame oil. We also need the fish sauce, and of course the soft tofu, the silken tofu, it's on tube. And then lastly, for garnishing, we would also need egg and some enoki mushrooms. Before you start to cook, make sure you put the clams in a bowl with water. Let it stand for about 4 hours so that it could spit any dirt, and then after 4 hours you can wash it off and put another clean water to it before you actually use it for cooking. Okay, so for the stock, you actually need the onions. You need to peel the onions and then cut it into 2. Okay, and then for the garlic, you need to remove also the skin. Make sure all the skin is removed. Now we actually need about 10 pieces of anchovies, but since the anchovies I bought was quite small, so I doubled the number. Instead of just using 10 or 12, I'm using 24 pieces of small anchovies. And then for the mushroom, since it's also a bit small, so instead of using just 2, I'm using 3 pieces of shiitake mushroom. For the kelp, I bought the dried one that's pre-cut already, so I just need 3 of it. For the anchovies, we have to remove the intestine part, so just remove the head and then cut the intestine part, then use the remaining piece of body for the stock, and of course the head. Do this for all the pieces of anchovies. Okay, put the pan on a stove and open it, and then add 5 cups of water. Add the onions, garlic, shiitake mushroom, and the dried kelp plus the anchovies. Usually the Koreans have this steel net, so it's a little more convenient to cook the anchovies because you can just put it inside the net and then close it, so some of the parts doesn't float around, and then later on you don't have to strain it to remove the ingredients later on and just use the stock. Okay, so we have to put the stock into a boil for about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so the stock came to a boil, so keep it boiling for the next until you complete the 20 minutes. You see the water is taking the color of the mushroom and perhaps the dried kelp. Now, while waiting for the stock to be done, you can cut the pork into small pieces. So here it is. I think it's better to do it a little chunky so that once it's cooked, you can easily find it in your stew. And then the zucchini, you can dice it. Don't remove the skin anymore. And then here's the kimchi. Now for the pepper, the green pepper, you have to slice it a bit, this thick. And then the enoki mushrooms, you don't need all the enoki mushrooms since it's gonna be used for garnishing only. So remove the stems, of course, then wash it. Then here's the green onions, and this is the red pepper. So I already put them in small containers so that when I start cooking, it would be easier for me to make the stew. Okay, now so the stock is done. Turn off the fire, or put off the fire, and then since I did not use the steel net, I need to strain the stock to separate the liquid from the solid. Okay, now so we have to remove the mushrooms. We need this because we're gonna put this on the stew. So here is how the stock looks like. It's a bit clear. Okay, so you have to cut the mushrooms. Okay, now so we're ready to make the stew already because we already have the stock. We already have it. So in making the stew, we'll have to use the stone pot. This is what the Koreans use when cooking Sundubu Jjigae. So put the stoneware on the on top of the stove and then open it in high heat. So when the stoneware is already hot, you can place olive oil, about 2 teaspoons. So that's about it. And then let the oil hit a bit. And then to put the pork when the pork is already brown, okay, you can put in the shiitake mushrooms, the ones we got from our stock earlier. Okay, stir it along with the pork and let it cook for about 1 minute. So after adding the mushroom, you can now put in the red pepper flakes or the red pepper powder, and then you have to stir it constantly for the next 1 minute. Okay, right after the pepper powder, you can now add the kimchi. Then stir it again for another minute. So now we're ready to add the stock. So we have to put 2 cups of stock. So we'll have to let it boil. Now you can add fish sauce after putting in the stock. Then add the zucchini. So let the stew boil. Okay, so cut the tofu into half. And then put half of it inside. So after adding the soft tofu, now we are ready to add the clams. So you can just put in the clams. Stir. You will know that the clams are cooked when it's already opened. So as you can see, the clam is now open, so it's already cooked. Now you can put off the fire and then garnish our Sundubu Jjigae. You can put the green peppers, and then you put in the enoki mushrooms. Then the green peppers. So we can crack 1 egg on top of the stew. So now we have our finished Sun Dubu Jjigae. So you can stir the egg if you want, or let it cook, poach on the stew. Okay, so this is my Sun Dubu Jjigae. So it's now time to enjoy the Sun Dubu Jjigae.